Welcome to my channel Limelight Leaks. Please share and subscribe, and hit the bell icon for latest updates. Before America got to know her as the main person on Iron Resurrection, Amanda Martin was quietly building skills that would one day make her really important in a busy TV garage. She was born and grew up in Texas. She learned to work hard and be practical. Even though she wasn't fixing cars every day, she lived around people who loved fast cars, shiny chrome, and getting good deals. Amanda learned early that being successful wasn't just about loving something. It was about knowing how to make things work. Her first jobs had nothing to do with TV cameras. Amanda worked with money and managing things. She got really good at staying organized, talking deals, and helping customers. She was great at making people trust her, closing deals, and keeping big projects running smoothly. These skills would later work perfectly in the world of custom cars. Unlike many people who just stumble into the car world, Amanda understood the business side right from the start. She knew how to read people, find good opportunities, and set up deals so everyone was happy. She also had a gift for relationships. She knew when to push hard, when to listen, and when to walk away from a bad deal. These smart moves weren't learned from books. She practiced them in real situations where money, her good name, and deadlines were always at risk. Her ability to stay calm when others got upset made her a natural problem solver. By the time Iron Resurrection wanted her, Amanda already had all the tools she needed to do well. She didn't need to prove she could build a career. She already had one. What she didn't know was that her mix of business smarts, deal-making skills, determination, and Texas friendliness would make her not just helpful to the show, but one of its most loved stars. Amanda's start on Iron Resurrection wasn't some fancy audition. It was a natural next step from the life she and her husband Joe Martin had already built. Joe was a well-known custom bike and car builder, and Amanda was already deeply involved in running the behind-the-scenes business. When Velocity Network started making the TV series, the producers quickly figured out something important. Amanda wasn't just the builder's wife. She was a driving force in making the shop run well and make money. Her job on the show wasn't made up or scripted. Amanda was literally the link between the deals that brought cars into the shop and the money sense that kept projects realistic. Viewers saw her answering phone calls, making deals with sellers, and keeping Joe's creative ideas from costing too much money. She became the calm, confident balance to the shop's creative craziness. Amanda approached TV with the same thinking she had in business. Get ready, change when needed, and get things done. She didn't see herself as a character, but as someone doing real work that just happened to be filmed. Fans noticed this right away. Her real approach stood out in a type of show often filled with over-the-top personalities. While other car shows used a lot of fake drama, Amanda brought something genuine. From day one, her on-screen presence felt easy and natural. She wasn't trying to be a TV personality. She was simply being herself, smart, friendly, and always ready to close a deal. For the TV crew, she became an anchor, someone who could keep a scene realistic while still giving audiences the entertainment they wanted. Almost right away, Amanda became a fan favorite. While Joe and the crew worked magic on the shop floor, Amanda became the face viewers connected with the show's warmth and friendliness. She was the voice on the other end of the phone, making deals happen, the smiling face at car meets, and the steady hand during tough negotiations. Viewers loved how she could handle the business side while staying nice and personable. She never seemed cold or mean, even when she was driving a hard bargain. Instead, she had a relatable energy that was firm but fair. Her Texas charm mixed with sharp business instincts made her special in the custom car TV world, where women were often pushed aside or given background roles. Her ability to connect wasn't just for the cameras either. Fans who met Amanda at events said she was friendly and really interested in their stories. She understood that Iron Resurrection was more than just entertainment. It was a community. That personal caring helped build the loyalty of viewers, many of whom watched as much for Amanda as for the car build themselves. But being visible brought a new kind of responsibility. Amanda found herself representing not just the shop, but women in a male-dominated industry. She accepted this role, knowing her presence challenged old-fashioned ideas about who could be a serious player in the car world. Behind Amanda's confident on-screen presence was a schedule that would test even the most organized person. Filming days often went long, and the work demands didn't stop when the cameras did. Amanda was constantly balancing what the TV crew needed with the realities of running a real business. While the audience saw her making calls and negotiating purchases, what they didn't see were the late nights spent looking over budgets, arranging transportation for vehicles, and managing customer expectations, all while getting ready for the next day's shoot. The constant juggling act left little room for personal time off. There was also the unspoken expectation that Amanda would always be on. Whether she was tired or dealing with personal problems, the cameras needed her energy and focus. It was a subtle but real pressure to be the same warm, calm presence no matter what was happening off-screen. Adding to the stress was the challenge of working alongside her husband in a high-pressure environment. Amanda and Joe had a strong partnership, but mixing marriage, business, and TV made for a tricky balancing act. Every decision carried weight, financial, creative, and personal. Amanda rarely let that stress show, but privately she began to feel the toll. The work was rewarding, but it was also nonstop, and she knew something would eventually have to change. Fame hit Amanda Martin fast. Almost overnight, she went from being known within a small circle of Texas car fans to being recognized in airports, grocery stores, and restaurants across the country. On the surface, the benefits were clear. The shop's exposure exploded, business questions doubled, and Iron Resurrection merchandise began selling in places they never imagined. Amanda also felt the deeper reward of inspiring fans, especially women, to pursue roles in the car world. She would get handwritten letters from young girls who said they wanted to learn mechanics because they saw her on TV making deals and running the business. That impact made the long hours feel worth it. But the other side of fame was far less fun. Along with the fan love came online criticism from people who didn't know her personally, but felt they could judge her looks, voice, or decisions on the show. Every negotiation, every on-camera moment could be picked apart by strangers on social media. There was also the loss of privacy. A quick trip to buy groceries might turn into an unplanned fan meeting. Even family dinners were sometimes interrupted by people wanting photos. And while Amanda appreciated the support, she quietly missed the days when she could move through the world unnoticed. The show had opened doors, but it had also put her under a microscope. For every kind message, there was a mean comment, and learning to live with that constant watching became one of her biggest off-camera challenges. Amanda was committed to Iron Resurrection, but that commitment came at a cost. Filming schedules were strict and often ran deep into the evenings, leaving little time for family gatherings or personal milestones. Birthdays, anniversaries, and casual get-togethers with friends sometimes slipped by with only a quick phone call or text message. She tried to make up for it when she could, sending thoughtful gifts, arranging special weekends. But there was no way to replace being physically present. While fans saw the smiling Amanda at car shows and behind the counter, they didn't see the quiet moments when she wished she was somewhere else, sharing time with loved ones instead of a camera crew. Even day-to-day life became squeezed. Simple things like sitting on the porch with coffee in the morning or taking an afternoon off to recharge were rare treats. When she wasn't filming, she was handling the paperwork that kept the shop moving forward, meaning true time off was almost non-existent. The emotional weight of those missed moments added up. She began to realize that while the show was helping to build a work legacy, it was also taking time she couldn't get back. And as the seasons went on, that realization grew harder to ignore. For Amanda, the decision to step back from Iron Resurrection wasn't sudden. It was a slow build-up of small truths she could no longer push aside. The pace was nonstop, the watching was exhausting, and the personal sacrifices too great. She still loved the car world and the people she worked with, but she wanted to take back her life on her own terms. There was also the growing awareness that the longer she stayed in the constant grind of television, the harder it would be to step away later. She didn't want to reach a point where bitterness overshadowed the pride she felt in what she had accomplished. Privately, Amanda and Joe talked about the change for months. They both knew the show had been a blessing for their business, but they also valued their personal happiness. The decision ultimately came down to balance, something that had been missing for too long. When she left, Amanda didn't make a big public announcement. She simply moved toward the next chapter, quietly focusing on projects that mattered most to her. She knew she'd always be tied to Iron Resurrection in the eyes of fans. But she was ready to be more than a TV personality. She was ready to be Amanda on her own terms again. When the cameras stopped rolling for Amanda, life didn't slow down. It just changed direction. Without filming schedules controlling her every move, she finally had the freedom to set her own pace. She jumped into other business ventures, many still connected to the car industry, but working quietly behind the scenes. She partnered with Joe on select builds, but these were passion projects, not production deadlines. Amanda also began exploring opportunities that had nothing to do with cars, investments, community events, and charity work that had long been on her heart, but impossible to commit to during her Iron Resurrection years. She started going to local fundraisers, supporting small businesses, and lending her name to causes she cared about. Her days were still busy, but the rhythm was hers to control. She could choose to take a day off to spend with family or book a last-minute trip without worrying about conflicting with a filming block. That flexibility gave her a kind of peace she hadn't realized she was missing until she had it back. The fans didn't disappear either. Social media still kept her connected. And while she was less active than before, she occasionally shared glimpses of her life. Moments that showed a slower, more grounded version of herself. In those posts, she looked genuinely happy. The kind of happy that comes from living on your own terms rather than performing for an audience. Looking back, Amanda knows the show was more than just a job. It was a chapter that shaped her career and introduced her to a community she still treasures. Iron Resurrection gave her a platform few in the car world ever get, especially women. She became a familiar face, not just as the one who answered the phones, but as a sharp negotiator, a business manager, and a key player in the shop's success. She often thinks about the fan messages she received over the years. People who said her presence made the show feel real and approachable. That she brought warmth to the grease and steel of every episode. That to her is the part worth remembering. The connections made with people she never would have met otherwise. Amanda hopes that when fans think back on her time on the show, they remember the laughter, the deals, and the sense of teamwork. She doesn't regret the years she gave to the series, even with the sacrifices. The experience taught her toughness, sharpened her business instincts, and gave her the confidence to build a new path forward. Though she's no longer on TV, her influence on the Iron Resurrection legacy remains. Fans still bring up her name at car shows, and for many, her absence is still felt. That's the kind of impact that can't be erased no matter how much time passes. At 49, Amanda isn't chasing the spotlight. She's chasing fulfillment. Her focus now is on the projects and people that matter most. She's continuing to work in the car space, but on a smaller, more personal scale, picking builds that excite her rather than ones that fit a production schedule. She's also investing more time in her personal life. Family dinners are no longer squeezed into rare days off. Vacations aren't planned a year in advance around filming. Even simple moments like a quiet morning coffee or a spontaneous road trip are now part of her life again. While she's grateful for what Iron Resurrection brought her, she's equally grateful for the clarity to walk away when she did. She knows fame can be addictive. That many people stay in the public eye long after the joy is gone. For her, stepping back wasn't the end of something. It was the beginning of a new way of living. Amanda doesn't rule out future TV appearances entirely, but if they happen, it will be on her terms. For now, she's content where she is, living proof that sometimes the best build you can ever work on is the one you make for yourself. The one you make for your own happiness and peace of mind, not for cameras or audiences, but for the life you truly want to live.